Hey, hello. Today I wanted to tell you about dating air signs. This is a part of a little series I'm doing about dating the different zodiac signs by element. So, today we will be talking about Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. And I'm going to say before we get started, I'm not an expert. These little bits are just things that I have gathered from my own experiences with air signs, dating them, but also being their friends, watching them date, and I would say my family too, but in my family we have no air signs. So feel free to add whatever you think or correct me, disagree with me if you would like. This is all based on my experience with air signs. And as always, with all astrology-based videos, my point of view is that it is for fun. It is for fun. Okay. So, with that said, let's get started. Some people think that it's our signs that are least emotional because we got like our gaps in there, but I think as a group it's actually air signs that are least emotional overall. They are rarely sentimental because they're so intellectually quick, and if I had to define their love languages overall, I would say they tend to like words of affirmation and also quality time. Ways to know if an air sign's into you. They'll flirt with you shamelessly. They're notoriously flirtatious, and they like when people can hold their own and like flirt back with little quips and fun banter and stuff like that. They tend to lose interest more quickly than not, so if you've known them for a while and they're still flirting with you, it's a good sign. Another way to know if they're into you is they will remember the details. Some of them won't admit that they remember the details, others will. But they will make sure to employ that information in talking to you or in giving you gifts. If they're trying to play it cool, sometimes they'll pretend like they don't remember something you said 8 months ago, but they do. Especially the small things, especially your likes and dislikes. And they'll also communicate with you throughout the day. Unlike other signs, they tend to enjoy watching their phone blow up, and if they like you, they'll ask for your opinions on things. They'll share their own opinions on things to get you to share yours, but they're very into this like flow of communication. Alright, so the first sign we're gonna dive into a little bit here is Libra. Libra is at the autumn equinox, and it's the 7th sign of the zodiac too, so it's halfway through everything. And that's not why, but it is emblematic of the fact that they crave balance. They are harmony focused, and just all about balance. That's why their sign is like the little scales, too. It's all about balance with them. And they thrive in the company of other people. I think they're typically convinced that they need a a supportive partner to achieve their best self. Not that they're not great on their own, but they just acknowledge all that a partner can bring to their lives. They're known for being a little, if not indecisive, just being able to see the sides of everything, of every choice, of every argument, and things like that. So you might assume they would feel like, with so many choices in the dating pool, how am I going to choose one? How am I going to commit to one? And that they would like run amok without commitment. But actually, the abundance of choice is what paralyzes Libra, so it pushes them in the other direction. And they're actually more likely to make a commitment to just choose a person and go full in on them to avoid this negative abundance of choice, right? Like the negative aspects of an abundance of choice. Overwhelmed by choice. So they commit to someone who will be a good partner too. It's not like they're settling, but they'll commit for that reason in part. They are ruled by Venus, so, which, means they care about making the world a more beautiful and balanced place. And so they also respond positively to others' efforts to do the same. So, with everyone, right, you want to pay attention to your appearance if you're dating them. But that is like the trap to set with them. They like chic, kind of not fussy senses of style. And they like little details, little design elements, like little flares of design that are maybe not immediately apparent, but are like thoughtful, right? And they also, they are so socially graceful that they appreciate social graces in others too. They also really appreciate perseverance and balance and acting gently in the face of hardship, or keeping your cool in the face of aggression. Moving on, we have Gemini, the most mercurial of the signs. And I feel like I should say I love Gemini. One of my best friends is Gemini, okay? I'm not a Gemini hater. They can be really fickle, really impulsive, but then also because of that impulsivity, they can be flexible. But they're complicated, and the road to their hearts is not clear and smooth. It is a rocky road. So they love to be challenging, and I think with this sign more than any other, timing is everything. Part of what makes them so spirited and like challenging to pursue is that they are so smart, and they can basically outthink anyone, just think circles around you. They're very strategic, and so they will strategize until they've defined the best path to achieving exactly what they want. And they will do everything to maintain whatever their definition of personal freedom looks like, which changes all the time, but they're all about that too. They want to stay free and independent. So they're usually, like, if you go to a party and you're like, oh, that person, and they're a Gemini, they're usually like in the center of attention, not because they're attention hogs, but because they just naturally attract it, just soaking up the attention. And so it's kind of hard to get their attention on you because they command it so well themselves. So one way to like get close to them or have them notice you is just to match their energy. And they love, as an air sign, vigorous banter, just going toe for toe, head to head banter, because they're in the center of attention, you may have to do this in the group. So clever group banter is going to be the name of the game. And then you're just trying to show them that you can like hold your own with them, and that's enough of like a trail of breadcrumbs to you that they will seek you out if they wish. They are not very subtle, and they don't like subtlety. So once you're flirting with them, you can just like shamelessly pile on the innuendo. And yeah, very little phases them. It's difficult to offend them, not that you're trying to, but you can't offend them basically. They will be unfazed. And as I said, they like watching their phone blow up. All air signs kind of do, but especially Gemini. So if that doesn't work, you can just text them to show your interest, and that will work. But don't do like empty flattery, obviously. Gemini is somewhat like manic. They're not flighty, but they can change. They have like hairpin turns that like change thoughts and stuff. And so they can become bored easily. So they're super cerebral. Don't do like the hollow flattery, like the basic compliments. Anything that seems basic, they're not going to be into. And if you want to attract them to you, show that you can think on like a deeper and more abstract level. And, if you can expose them to complex ideas and like teach them lessons, like show off your wisdom if you have any, they will like that. Basically, you want to be open and communicative, but complex. Those are like the two keys. They like puzzles. Don't overdo it. Don't be a terribly difficult puzzle, because if they feel that you are trying to outthink them or outmanipulate them, they won't like that. You also won't win. Not only will they not like it, but you won't succeed because they are the best at that game. So be a puzzle, but like don't, be complex enough that you're not easy to figure out, but just be you, but make an effort to be a little mysterious, basically. But in a cerebral way, not in like a spooky way. And again, don't be shy about blowing up their phones. Some people, some signs find constant communication draining and uninteresting, but Geminis are super chatty, a little gossipy, and they love it. And then finally, Aquarius. Aquariuses are idealists, full stop idealists, and very high-minded. So they believe in the true power of love. And they are a little rebellious, a little nonconformist. They are notoriously slow to make commitments, like hard and fast commitments. But they're also very likable. They're very socially agile, and they like to collect friends, especially interesting people, which can be a good or bad thing. So you might have to like enter their orbit through a kind of friend zone angle. They are weird. If you can't deal with weirdos, I mean, I know this is like the cliche about Aquarius, that they're like, oh my god, I'm so weird, but they really are. If you don't like weirdos, or if you're easily embarrassed, this is not the pick for you. They don't care about being worshipped. They they aren't attracted to the idea of being placed on a pedestal or anything like that. They just want to be independent weirdos who can do what they please, ideally come and go as they please as well, and then they'd be like little happy clams. Sometimes they get pegged as being indifferent or unemotional, and they can be a little aloof, but that's, as with all these characteristics that are like more shadow sides of the signs, that is like a self-preservation mechanism and a protection mechanism. So if you're not sure, because they're being cold or aloof or whatever, that they're into you, whether they're into you, what you can do is pay attention to how they behave when it's just the two of you guys. They're very socially agile. They have all these friends and people are drawn to them, but despite all their social graces, when they're with someone, alone with someone that they like, they are awkward. They do things abruptly, and they, like when they're attracted to someone, and they like totally lose their cool, and they just act from this more neurotic place. So like abrupt movements or like stalling conversation and being awkward. They will do all of that. Like other air signs, they want someone who's intellectually stimulating, who keeps them thinking, keeps them curious, who is curious. They really like people who are well read. They really like people who are well informed, politically, culturally, worldly, or well traveled, They like people who are witty, who can tell a good story. And generally they like kind of like chatty, optimistic people because it evens them out a bit. And they are attracted to people who are really fluid in conversation, who can just jump in and make conversation work and make conversation interesting, but they don't like anyone who just opens up their whole life story right off the bat and it's like, here is all my stuff, here are all the cards on the table. They don't like that. They're like mystery, kind of similar to Gemini. They like a puzzle they can't quite figure out. But Aquarius, I think, likes the person who's more puzzle in terms of who they are and what they're about and like what their heart is. But yeah, mystery will do it. Again, they're super independent, so you have to have a life of your own if you want to lock them down for the long run. They are also very slow when it comes to heavy emotions and passion and like deep emotional intimacy, which doesn't mean it's not there for them. It definitely is, but you need to respect their really slow approach to it, because too much too soon will send them running. They will let you in, they'll let you into their life, but it has to be on their own terms. You can't pressure them, you can't rush them. And if you try to pressure or rush them, they'll be frustrated with you for like imposing your own expectations and timelines on them. And even down the line, like declaring, like deep declarations of like love and emotion are not really their cup of tea at any stage. And again, they're rebellious, nonconformist, unconventional living arrangements, and LDRs, long distance relationships, are not uncommon for them. They don't mind. And basically whatever you do, just don't smother them, don't smother them, don't smother them, don't smother them. Absence does make the heart grow fonder in this case, in most cases, but especially with Aquarius. especially with Aquarius. Alright, that is the end. I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to add your own experiences down below if you would like. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you